When did you first sort of become aware of this SolarWinds hack and the extent to which it had become an issue?
I learned about the SolarWinds hack at the same time pretty much everyone else on the planet learned about it when it was reported in the news.
From sort of a layperson's perspective, how did this hack happen and what does it affect?
So here's what we know. A company named SolarWinds makes a network management product called Orion. Sometime before March of this year, hackers working for the Russian SVR, that's basically the KGB today, hacked into the company, to SolarWinds, and slipped a backdoor into an Orion software update. Users downloaded that update, about 17,000 it seems, between March and June, and that gave SVR hackers access to their networks. So it seems like the SVR chose carefully its targets. Microsoft found 40 customers infiltrated, most in the US, but also in Canada, Mexico, Belgium, Spain, UK, Israel, and I think UAE. This is governments, contractors, IT companies, think tanks, all sorts of companies, and this list is growing. United States, we know the State Department, Treasury, Homeland Security, Los Alamos and Sandia National Labs, think nuclear weapons research, National Institute of Health, think COVID research, many more. We're really still learning who has been attacked. And there seems to be more initial vectors, so actually not being a SolarWinds customer is not a guarantee you aren't hacked here. But just closing the vulnerability doesn't mean you're safe. Because if they got in, they moved around, they got other means of access. So this is a big deal. It's a lot of networks, not just the US, worldwide. Recovery is really hard, and the Russians got a lot of cool stuff.
Do we have any sense at this point what they actually got, or is it pretty much whatever was in those networks at the time?
So we in the unclassified press world have no idea. Probably inside the government there is some idea, but it's going to take weeks or months to figure out what was taken, and in many cases we won't know.
And where does the work go from here? If you're, say, the cybersecurity head for a government agency, what are you doing at this point now that you know that there's not only access, but persistent access beyond just that one update that installed the backdoor? Sort of what do you do at this point?
So here's where the Russian SVR ruined Christmas. The only thing you can do if you want to be secure is basically burn your network to the ground and start all over again. So you think about when your computer is hacked and you don't know how, what you do is you restore your operating system to its factory settings, right? You go from a known good version. The only way to ensure that the Russians are out of your network is to do that.
Is that the sort of thing that either as a citizen of the government or a consumer of a private company, an individual would want to be warned or worried about, or is this more of a top level concern?
You know, we don't know. We don't know what was accessed, right? We know they accessed Intel, right? Probably going after stuff about chips, maybe looking for other ways to attack systems. That's something me as a customer don't care about. If they hacked my bank, maybe I do care. So we don't know. It really depends what was accessed and for what purpose. It seems like this was mostly for government surveillance.
I was wondering if you could sort of put this attack in historical context. How unique is this type of attack? And then in terms of the scale, how much precedent is it for there to be this level of infiltration?
You know, we don't know because we don't know a lot of details of this attack. This is a major attack. It's going to be one of the major operations against the United States. The scale is big. We see other things at this scale. I mean, the thing about espionage on the internet is everybody does it. The US probably does more of this sort of thing than any other country. And Russia, China, US, UK, Israel, Iran, North Korea, doing this attacks pretty regularly for espionage purposes. I should really make that clear. This isn't an attack that destroys anything. It's an attack for espionage.
What sorts of things can be done or perhaps should have been done already to prevent these kinds of attacks from happening? Or is this just sort of part of doing business in the 21st century?
The United States doesn't spend enough on cyber defense. We have a lot of offensive capability and we like to use it. but we don't play defense nearly as well. Einstein 3 is a government intrusion detection network that's supposed to detect this sort of thing. It is unable to detect these new sorts of attacks. And actually, in 2018, the GAO said that in a report, and we never fixed it. So we have this defend forward persistent engagement strategy where supposedly we're in our enemies' networks and know what they're doing, but we miss this. We need to up our defensive cybersecurity game. Offense is great, but defense is more important.